For latest astrology videos, subscribe AstroEdify channel and press this bell icon to get notified when a new video goes live.
Hello everybody, welcome to AstroEdify. Today we are going to start our astrology basic series, and this is the first part in that. We are going to look at the kaalpurush Kundali, the basics of the chart, how the houses are seen, how the rashis are calculated. But most importantly, which we will discuss, is that how the creation is done as per the philosophical as well as the astrological concepts, and we will understand these things with the help of the kaalpurush chart. So I know that many of you people have been associated with this channel for quite a lot of time and may already be aware of the basic principles of Jyotish, but I am sure and certain that the principles which I am going to discuss today, I don't think that most of you are going to be knowing that what I'm going to talk today. So even if you are advanced or moderate learner of astrology, still I will request that watch this video to learn about the essence and the gist of the subject and how it is responsible for our own creation and manifestation. So for more, watch this video till the end. If you want to book a consultation for yourself, you can go on this website. The link is given in the description. So we are going to quickly see the chart here for the people who are the beginners of Jyotish. For them, I will quickly make them understand that how you can see the houses and the zodiac signs in the chart, and then we will talk about the more important concepts here. So first thing, this is how a chart is seen. This is the North Indian version which I am using here. If you are comfortable in any other, then it is a different case. But the thing is that most of the time, if you are familiar with the Vedic astrology concept, then you might have seen your chart and you would have seen this in this pattern, in this form. So there are total 12 houses. You can see there are total 12 sections here, and they constitute the majority part of the chart. So the thing is that there are three things together which constitute or combine a chart. One is the house, one is the zodiac sign, and one is the planet. So all of three together make up a chart of an individual person. The first thing is that how you can calculate the house. So many people are confused about that they think that what number is written, that is the house. No, you are wrong here. Always remember that no matter what number is written, you have to understand that houses are always fixed. They never change. So here, where number 1 is written, it is you don't have to see the number. You see that this is the first house, no matter what. Even if I write instead of number 1, I write number 12 or number 11 or number 10, anything, it will always remain the first house. We call this the Lagna or the ascendant as well. So you call the first house or the Lagna or the ascendant, it is the same thing. But remember that the houses never change no matter what the number is written. Similarly, if you see that this is the second house, so you can count counterclockwise, anti-clockwise you have to count. So this is the first house, so second house will be this one, and it is always the second house no matter what number is written. Even if it is instead of 2, here number 5 is written, it will not be the fifth house. Do not confuse this. It will always be the second house. Similarly, this will be the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th houses. So you have to remember that houses are always fixed, and no matter what number is written in that house, it will never change the house placement. Okay, this is the first thing which you have to keep in mind. Second thing is that we have to see the zodiac signs. Now see that numbers always represent the Rashi or the zodiac sign. So Rashi or the Rashi means the zodiac sign itself. So whenever you see a number in any house, so always remember that the number will indicate or signify the zodiac sign. It will not signify the house. So here, number 1 is always Aries, and you have to remember the sequence of this zodiac sign, and this is necessary. See, there are certain basics which you have to understand and learn in any subject. So even if let's suppose you are studying English, you have to learn ABCD, alphabets, and you have to learn the grammar. If you do not know that, you cannot understand and communicate in English at all or any other language. So the thing is that for study of any subject, some basic information is necessary to memorize. So you have to memorize this. It is very simple. So you have to understand that there is a sequence of these zodiac signs. So there are 12 zodiac signs. There are 12 houses. So for each zodiac, for each house, there will be one individual zodiac sign. So the thing is that number one, where always, remember, number always is zodiac sign, and whenever number one is written anywhere in the chart, you must understand that that is Aries. It is representing Aries or Mesha. So Aries or Mesha. Mesh is the another name for Aries zodiac sign. So whether number one is written here in or number one is written here in the where number 7 is written. So wherever you find that number one is written, never confuse it that it is the first house. No, you have to keep in mind that it is always the Aries sign which is falling in that house. So it can be anywhere among these 12 places. Similarly, the sequence is number 1 is always Aries, number 2 is Taurus or Vrishab, number 3 is Gemini or Mithun, then 4 is Cancer and Karka, 5th is Leo or Singh, 6th is Virgo or Kanya, 7th number is always Libra or Tula. Then Scorpio is number 8, or you can also call it Vrishchik. Then 9th is Sagittarius or Dhanu. 10th is Capricorn or Makar. Then 11th is Aquarius or Kumbha. And 12th is Pisces or Meena. To remember here that this sequence is there of the zodiac signs which you have to memorize. After that, there are certain planetary rulers of each zodiac sign. So I have written here the ruler also. You have to memorize the rulership as well. The Mars here controls 2 zodiac signs, Aries and Scorpio. So number 1 is always, wherever number 1 is written, that is Aries, and it is always ruled by Mars or Mangal. So Mars is the ruler of Aries. Then Taurus and Libra are ruled by Venus. Then Mercury is the ruler of Gemini and Virgo. Then Cancer is ruled by Moon. Leo is ruled by Sun. Then Scorpio again, as I said, Mars as well as Ketu. Then Sagittarius and Pisces are ruled by Jupiter. Capricorn and Aquarius are ruled by Saturn. And Capricorn is also ruled by Rahu along with Saturn. So these are the lordships. So there are certain basic principles which you have to learn and memorize, so that later on when we will discuss other concepts in detail, you will be able to understand that how you can analyze the chart. Okay. So these are the basic things which you must understand. And this is the kaalpurush Kundali. Remember, whenever the first house and the Aries zodiac sign coincide with each other, it means that it is showing a kaalpurush chart. Kaalpurush means a cosmic chart of the creation. That is what we call. So kaalpurush is symbolized by Aries ascendant. Now, the point which I am talking about here, we are going to I'm going to go off topic here for some moment for making you understand the basic principle behind this, so that later on when I will come back to the topic, you will be able to understand it in detail. The first point here is that now we are going to talk about consciousness or creation, and creation always happens from the consciousness. It is never other way around. The point here is that there are 2 types of realities. One is the absolute ultimate reality, and one is the transactional relative reality. Now the point here is that ultimate reality or the truth is, or the absolute truth is always non-dual, infinite in nature. So it is of non-dual, infinite, pure existence, consciousness, bliss. So this is what we call as ultimate or absolute reality. Now, if you do not understand what these things are, I will try to make you understand as easy as possible. But the point here is that I am not going to take a philosophy lecture. But if you have some kind of knowledge of Advaita Vedanta or some kind of knowledge of the Kashmiri Shaivism or the Tantra philosophy, you will be able to understand my point. But still, for the people who do not know these things, I will try to make the description as easy as possible. So hear these things properly. So the point here is that absolute consciousness, as I mentioned, is of always true, pure existence, consciousness, bliss, and it is infinite and non-dual in nature, means it is beyond space, beyond time, and beyond causation. So the thing is that if you speculate, for example, even if you speculate your own self, you will try, when you will try to self-introspect, you will reach at a point of oneness or blankness or nothingness. It is one and the same thing. So if you reach at that point after deliberate and very keen self-introspection, you will come to a point that I am what I am. So first, but the thing is that what people understand what they are. So if I say that I am this body, there are three kind of divisions in our human body or body-mind complex. One is the physical body or gross body, which is known as Sthula Sharira. So the physical body or the manifestation which you see, that is which is in constant connection with the material world or the Maya, that is your physical body. After that, it is the Sukshma Sharira, that is your mind and intellect together. Then after that, it will be the causal body or Karana Sharira, that is known as the ego in seed form. Ego in seed form. Okay. So the point here is that if you speculate, now there are 2 points which you must remember in order to come to a conclusion whether something is real or not. You have to keep 2 things in mind. One, if it is subject to experience, then it is false and it is not true. Second, if it is subject to change and impermanence, then also it is not the ultimate truth. So the thing is that if you are aware of something, then awareness will be of that object, will always define that that object is never the truth. So apply this on your body. So the thing here is that if you apply this on your physical body, you are constantly experiencing your physical body because of the 5 senses. And if those 5 senses are not there, you cannot experience. So that part of the body which is making you experience the material world constantly, it is not the ultimate truth, because focus on the subject. My point here is that who is the reality? Subject is the reality. Our goal is to reach to the absolute consciousness or the subject. And who is subject? You. But the version of you which you think as yourself, that is not the truth. So the point here is that in order to understand what you truly are, you have to apply these principles on your own self so that you can reach to a conclusion or a understanding that yes, this is who I am in real terms. So if you are able to experience your physical body, then it is not you, because it becomes an object to you. There is somebody, some witness consciousness which is experiencing that. Second thing, it is subject to change and impermanence because our body grows, decays and dies with respect to time. So it is not the same. You take the birth, you grow up, you grow old and you die ultimately. So there is no constant thing behind it. It is always susceptible to change. So again, 2 principles are coming out on the properly applicable on the physical body. So that is not the truth. Second thing, same thing apply on your mind and intellect. Mind means your emotions, thoughts, feelings, everything which you experience on an emotional level, that is your mind. And most importantly, your desires, that is also in your mind. So obviously, in a single day only, we experience multiple emotions and our desires change over a period of time, regularly, constantly, continuously. So mind is also just a object for the witness consciousness which is experiencing that. If you feel happy or sad or any emotion whatsoever, just see that who is experiencing it. Just question this. And the moment you are able to question this, you will be able to understand that yes, there is something which is different from my mind. So mind is also the object, not the subject. Mind is a object of experience. Same thing, mind also changes because emotions are changing, desires are changing, everything changes over a period of time continuously in mind. So same thing, mind is also not the reality. Same application on the intellect or the ego. So intellect means your learning, your thought process, your body maintenance, like heartbeat, temperature, digestive processes, everything which is going on in the body automatically, which you are not controlling at all the involuntary functions. And at the same time, anything which makes you what you can say gives you any kind of learning of any kind, that is intellect. Now see that. And memory is also a part of intellect. So intellect also changes because it is the object of experience, it is not the subject. There is somebody, witness consciousness, which is experiencing the intellect. Who is learning? Who is memorizing? Whose memory is this? Remember, there is one changeless principle behind all changing experience, and that is that pure existence, consciousness, bliss, which you are. That is what Advaita says. And last point is ego. Ego does not mean pride. Ego means false identification with the material world because of the ignorance. So we forget our real nature because of the ignorance. We do not know who we really are, and now we think that okay, this is what I can be. So like your name, your gender, your nationality, your family, your culture, your tradition, your religion, your political affiliations, your belief system, everything which make up you as a person in this world, that together makes up the ego. But all these things are superimposed identities which you have gathered upon yourself after your birth. Whether they were there before the moment you were born? No. After that they came into existence, and the moment you will die, they will again go away. So again, this is what? Not permanent. And second, all this is a secondary aspect of identity. It is not the true nature. So the point here is that ego is also what? Not true at all, because it is also the object of experience and it is also impermanent. So now what remains? What remains is that pure witness consciousness which is there, and that is what you are. The ultimate reality is of that nature. We call it Atma also, we call it Satchidanand also. No matter what term you use, we call it Brahman also. But this is what it is, and we call it Shiva also. So now this was the main thing which I wanted to give you a gist of, so that now we are going to come back to the topic, how the creation happens. Now this is a very basic thing which you must understand here, because fifth house, and no matter whether you start from the fifth house or the ninth house, you will reach at the same thing. But I will show from the both the perspectives here. We will start with fifth house here. Now the point here is fifth house is ruled by sun. Now see, sun and moon are responsible for creation. Now the point which I want to clarify here is that sun and moon are the personified versions of consciousness here. They are not they are not doing this in literal terms. Literally, they are the part of the entire creation. So the point here is that what I am going to explain is that they are symbolizing the things which I am going to talk about in a personified manner. So sun represents the absolute reality or the pure existence, consciousness, bliss in the non-dual infinite form, which is beyond space, time and causation. It is the ever changeless principle behind the all changing experience, as I mentioned to you. That is what sun is. Sun is your ego, but what ego? True ego, true nature, true reality. That is what sun is. And we also call this prakasha. Prakasha means, literally prakasha means light. In Hindi, prakash is light. So, or we also call it chitta. So Chitta means pure consciousness. So sun represents the personified version of this Prakasha or Chitta. Now moon is the Vimarsha. Vimarsha means the pure I consciousness which is aware of its own self. That is what Vimarsha means. Vimarsha is represented by moon. So moon is the personified version of the awareness of the pure I consciousness of its own self. Okay. Now together this Prakash and Vimarsha, together sun and moon, they create the world. They create the creation, not the world, but entire creation, all the universes, everything which you see and which you do not see. That is all created by these two, Prakash and Vimarsha. So sun and moon, they are representing that, symbolizing that in this kaalpurush Kundali. From here the creation starts. So the thing is that at the initial stage, when the creation has not started, what happens is that this Prakash and Vimarsh are together, and they are together in seed form. They are beyond space, time and causation, means there is no space, no time and no causation at this moment. There is no nothing. There is only this pure I consciousness which is aware of its own self. It means there is Prakash and Vimarsh together. Now what happens is that this creation happens through the Ichha, Gyan and Kriya of this pure consciousness. Ichha means pure will, and Gyan means all the knowing, and Kriya means all the action. So with the help of these three things, I'm not going to delve into this. It will make the topic complicated. But the main point here is that whenever the creation starts, at the beginning, there is I experience, pure I experience. As I mentioned, there is only Prakasha, which is aware of itself. So there is no concept of duality. There is only I consciousness, pure I consciousness, and there is no experience of this. There is no manifestation of this. So I and this, we call this Aham and Idam. Aham means me and I. And Idam means this or you. So whenever Aham or Idam are together, it means there is duality. But in the initial stage, at the starting point, at the beginning, there is pure I experience. We call this Aham Vimarsha. Aham Vimarsha means pure I consciousness, which is in the seed form. There is no existence. There is no existence of this in quotes. Now, after this, what happens? There starts a second stage. The second stage is I, this experience. Slowly and slowly, this pure I consciousness, which was aware of itself, it starts to divide. And still there is not a duality which is coming right now. Still it is in non-dual form. But slowly and slowly a division starts with a thought, and that is I, this experience. It was pure I experience first, then now I, this experience. It means I am this. Second, we call this Aham Idam Vimarsha. And the last point here is that this division further enhances and it becomes this I experience. So this am I experience. Now remember, there is a difference between these two things. I am this means I am associating with something. I know who I am perfectly, but in I, this experience, I know who I am perfectly. But this I experience means there is a subtle confusion that this am I. Whether this am I, there is a subtle doubt. So we call this Idam Aham Vimarsha. Now what happens? After this, Maya begins. Maya is the Shakti or the power of the pure existence consciousness bliss itself, which veils its power, or what you can say in simple terms, it makes the infinite finite. That is what Maya is. So after this sequential process of division in consciousness from I to I this and to this I, then Maya begins. And Maya means Ma literally means Ma means the measurable thing. Ma means you can measure something. So what can be measured, which is finite. If something is infinite, you cannot measure this. If you can measure something, then it is not infinite. So Maya means which converts the infinite pure existence consciousness bliss into finite pure existence consciousness bliss and give it a name, form and purpose. A name, form and purpose. And how does it do that? It does that with the by hiding certain things, certain qualities. So Maya literally means it is creating an illusion or veiling the powers of what? Pure existence. So the first thing is it reduces the universal doership, the kala. So kala means universal doership is reduced. So how it is making the infinite finite, that is what I am talking about. Then it reduces the omniscience, the vidya. It reduces the completeness, raga, or all satisfaction. Then it reduces the nityatva. Nityatva means eternity, permanence. Anything which is not permanent. What does it mean? It is susceptible to time. Now what happens? Kala begins. Time starts. Then niyati. Niyati means it reduces the freedom, pervasiveness. So anything which was infinite now has taken a form and it has become finite in space. Now space begins. So this is how 5 things are reduced and Maya is created. So what happens is that with respect to this creation process of Prakash and Vimarsha, the infinite pure existence consciousness bliss, which is represented by the 5th house or the sun, is converting into the 1st house, is going into the 1st house. And what is 1st house? The individual. The 1st house is you yourself. But what version of you? A finite individual subject who is not infinite and who is susceptible to ignorance, who does not know who he is. So that is 1st house. This is the 1st house. So Maya makes the person Maya makes the pure consciousness which was infinite, finite, and converts that consciousness into an individual sentient being which is limited and finite. Same thing. If to 1st house, if you are created, we call this Purusha. So Purusha is the limited sentient being. Second thing, same way, 7th house. 7th house is the Prakriti. So Prakriti is the experienced. So who is the experiencer? You are the experiencer, subject. And if you are there, subject is there, object must be there. If object is not there, subject won't be there. If subject is not there, object won't be there. They both coexist with each other. So the point here is that if Purusha has created, if individual has come into being, the Prakriti also must be come into being. So 1st house represents the subjective manifestation of pure consciousness, and 7th house represent the Prakriti, objective manifestation of the pure consciousness. So what happens is that 5th sun was representing pure consciousness, Prakash, Chandrama, moon is representing Vimarsha, the consciousness of the awareness of the consciousness itself, the Mercury. Now see how they are creating. So after sun, here is Mercury. After moon, before moon, there is Mercury. So Mercury represents the division in thought, which I said, na. So first there is I experience, then I this experience, then this I experience. That is created by Mercury. And then what happens? Maya comes into being. Who is Maya? Venus. And then who is created? You, Mars. You are created. And then what happens? The whole world is created with the help of 3 gunas, Raja, Tamas, and Sattva guna. Mars, Saturn, and Jupiter represent that. So this is how the creation happens. This is the first version. Now the second version, which is there from the 9th house. So 9th house, you can see there is Jupiter, Guru. So Jupiter has Akasha Tattva. Every planet has some particular element to it. Jupiter has Akasha Tattva. You call it ether also. But Akash literally does not mean ether here, and it does not mean sky also. Akash means the same thing which I said. The pure, absolute, non-dual consciousness which is there. Akash you call it Akash also, it is the same thing. There is no difference. So Jupiter represents that, means it is a personified version of that. Now after that what happens? Saturn comes. Saturn is Vayu. Vayu is what? The air. So Saturn comes, and what does it show? Saturn shows, Vayu also shows prana, Akash and prana. This is a concept which is there in yoga philosophy or Sankhya philosophy, which is of Akash and prana. So Akash is the pure consciousness and it has its energy. It is known as prana. So prana does not means breath. Prana literally means energy. Energy of every kind. Anything which creates. Akash does not create. Akash gives the foundation or platform to create. It is the changeless principle. But who creates? The Shakti or the energy or the prana that creates. So the thing is that after Akash, what happens? The prana is creating, and it is creating through Vayu. The Vayu is air, which is controlled by Saturn, represented by Saturn. After that, what happens? Agni comes. This is how the 24 cosmic principles are derived. I will discuss that later sometime. But if you will see the sequence, first comes the Akasha, then comes the Vayu, then comes the Agni, then comes the Jala, and then comes the Prithvi. So who is Akasha? Jupiter. Who is the Vayu? Saturn. Who is the Agni? Fire. That is Mars. And who is the Jala? Water, Venus. And who is the Prithvi? That is Mercury. So they are having this element. So you can see that this whole kaalpurush Kundali is representing the exact same process of creation which is being mentioned in these scriptures as well. So what happens is that Akash leads to creation of the prana, and prana creates the world. So Vayu is there, and Vayu means excessive chaos. Now where the space and time and causality has begun. Space and time and causality has begun. Now what happens? There is total chaos, and this in utter chaos or utter entropy or excessive randomness, what is happening? Agni means some formation is starting to happen, because what happens? Once the space and time have originated and causality has begun, now the material formation will start, and this material formation will start because of the heat, excessive energy which has been exploded. So that will create what? The first formation or creation in the in the universe, what we call it. So after that, what happens? This heat has to cool down, and that is water. Water is cooling property. So the thing is that it is cooling down somewhat the creation which has happened in the initial stages, and it is after that what is happening? Prithvi means solid formation. So solid is forming out, means bigger clumps of matter. So energy is converting into matter. What is happening? That is happening here. So whether you see it in atoms or molecules or stars or galaxies or planets, anything, that is Prithvi, solid, what you call. So this is how creation happens from another point of view. So I have explained this from two perspectives here. Hope you would have understood this, and this is the basic first thing which the person should know before jumping onto all detailed calculations and fundamental analysis. If you do not know this, later on there are very subtle things which help you. These subtle things help you in prediction. So if you do not know this, I hope you would have known by now, and this would have helped you. I hope that in learning astrology in a realistic sense. So in the next topic, on the second part, we will discuss the types of houses, what they represent, and the types of zodiac signs. So if you are new to my channel, subscribe below. For more, check on my website and Facebook page, Instagram page. Otherwise, we will meet in the next video. Till then, goodbye and thank you.